Hey, what's up, friends? It's Brittany here, coming live. If that red button's up there, that means you have caught me live. If not, go ahead and say hashtag replay so I can say hi. Let me know where you're watching from. I just, have felt it on my heart to come on and tell you. So if you don't know much about me, if you are a new friend of mine, you are about to hear it all, right? If you see in the if you can read the top there, I'm going to talk about, how I have been trapped in a pyramid scheme for over 3 years. So also, today is my actual 3-year anniversary with Color Street. This was actually my first, dreaded MLM that I signed up with. Before that, I was with a company that I signed up with July 8th, but I always claim this one as the one, is my first, because it's the first one I actually worked. So hi everyone for, hanging out with lunchtime with me if you're on the East, or, Central time. But yeah, I'm gonna tell you about those pesky, pyramid schemes, because I remember hearing so much stuff about it growing up, and then with my friends before I signed up, joining MLMs, because there is a lot of information out there, and honestly, there's literally groups that their main purpose in life is to take down anyone that's doing an MLM, right? And you hear a lot of that stuff. You'll be like, hey, I'm looking for this. I don't want an MLM. And, there's just so, and I used to be that way too. So I'm actually going to tell you a little bit where I was before I joined my pyramid scheme, right? I was in a part in my life where, not every place is created equal. I will say that. The company culture and team culture matters a lot. And I know you always hear people say, well, not mine, but I will say, not ours. So when I signed up, I was at a point, and I'm just going to break it all out. You guys can get the short facts. Years ago, I was I was really deeply bad into drugs. I had finally gotten clean. I had these felony convictions, trying to get a degree. I had 4 children. I was in a loveless marriage, because I felt like that's all I deserved. So I had, the kids, which brought me so much happiness. But, in the meantime, I wasn't happy in anywhere else, right? At that point, I was about 360 pounds. We literally were taking advantage of any type of government assistance that was possible. He was the main source of income, and obviously, I would work, I worked at Red Lobster for about 10 years, and that's kind of where it was at as far as financially, payday loans, any single place, anything that we did, I had to get money from my parents. As far as going on any vacation, birthday parties, that was the struggle that I was in. I'll tell you a quick story. I was in this mom group I met them when I got pregnant with Luca. He was born in 2015. We were really close. They knew of my financial struggles, and they knew everything, right, about my life. We chatted pretty regularly. And then I had mentioned that I was joining an MLM, and it got really, really nasty. Really nasty. Why would I do that? They even made digs about my weight, my physical. We stopped being friends because I made that decision. Why are you're on welfare. Why are you going to put money to do that? Right? Just focus on getting an education and stuff. You guys and they would try to use these stay-at-home moms that had no experience, that were trying to tell me just to be happy and just do what, just keep going through. And we're not friends anymore. I went ahead, and you guys see like my story, right? Fast forward 3 years. And then I have other times, like I remember wanting to be a manager at Red Lobster. You guys, my biggest thing I always wanted to be, I'm going to talk about this without crying, was an example to my kids. And I was so stuck, and I could not do that on the outside. Corporate America did not allow me to do that. And I remember all I wanted to do was be a freaking manager at Red Lobster. Listen, they work 60 hours. They make $40K a month. Income, $40K a year as a manager at Red Lobster, $40K a year. Income claim disclosure in the comment. I make way more than that a month now. That was the best I thought I could do. I was going to be happy doing that, right? And I remember a manager laughing at me in my face that I couldn't even do that. Like, really? Like, I had so, and I just had to stop, like, listening to these people, basically broke, unhappy people to just be okay with where I was at, because they were okay with where they were at. I had, and like sometimes, people here, you can pull a horror story out of any industry. And here's the thing, there's always people at the top that do better than people below in every industry, whether it is corporate America. Like, I remember, and like I said, Red Lobster, like, you literally had to wait 6 months to beg for a 5-cent raise. That was how it was. So things changed. And so it being my 3-year anniversary of being stuck in a pyramid scheme, I'm going to tell you about, how things have changed. My company, we sell one product. It's an average $12 product. There's one thing to learn. It's freaking dry nail polish, right? Men sell it, women sell it. You don't have to wear nail polish. And I don't have to like tell my friends that they are fat or have bad skin or make them feel guilty to buy this. I don't have to ask anyone to sign up for a $70 or $100 auto ship. If that's your thing, that's fine. But I'm just saying, like, what drew me to it. One consumable, freaking fun product. I didn't have to make people feel guilty about it. Like, that's like what drew it to me. It's something so freaking different. So in that 3 years, like, of course, at first I was brand new. I didn't know what I was doing, but if you are willing to be coachable and do the work, you can make some changes. Everyone's journey is different. It took me about 5 or 6 months to reach my first promotion. I remember my check was $220. I was literally in tears because I was able to buy my children Halloween costumes that year without having to borrow money from my parents. My dream, my big dream, was making $1,000 extra a month, and that would mean I would be able to survive on government assistance. That's what and that seems so far away from me. What I've been able to do, 3 years trapped in this pyramid scheme, what I've seen women in this company and men on, this team be able to do, it literally blows my mind like every day. And I know like there's people that aren't even open to looking at it because they have this preconceived like idea. Like, we are not out there having garages full of product. We're not out there like, tricking people into signing up for auto ships that they can't talk to a person to get out of. That's not what we do. So I said I signed up July 2017. March 2018, I had my first 5-figure month check. I was an executive, right? And you can see the income claim disclosure, see what the average pay is at all the different ranks. So March 2018, I had my first 5-figure month check. It's never, and it's always, it's increased since then. Right now I'm a Ruby National executive. So the other thing that I've been able to do, and I've shared this, like I told you, I had been looking at, I was morbidly obese. I wasn't able to have a good quality of life with my children. And, I was doing the yo-yo dieting and stuff like that. in April 2018, I was able to pay cash for the gastric sleeve, bariatric surgery. I was able to go drop off cash payment, totally not paying off, and pay for a surgery that, has allowed me to lose over 120 pounds. And, I've maintained it. It's been over about 2.5 years since then. That was because of my pyramid scheme. Before, this thing, I never traveled. We did like one trip in Florida driving. The biggest check I would see was tax returns. Who celebrated tax? I used to love tax returns. That was like my biggest payday through the whole year. So we planned a trip, and that was the only, travel for years. With then, my mom came, and, saying that my pyramid scheme has been able to do so much, but it's not just me, because everyone's like, well, you got in at the beginning, you're at the top. Okay, so first off, there's 2,000 stylists that enrolled before me that aren't at my rank and that aren't making the income that I am. And back that up, there are stylists that enrolled after me that are at my rank and making the same. And we have stylists that have enrolled in the past 5-6 months at the executive level. Check out the income claim disclosure. That's what's happening right now. We're still growing. So I literally that excuse, when people are like, oh, you must have got in at the right time. Girl, no, it's still the right time. It's just if you're willing to do the work, because we can make a million excuses on why things, and I've had people come back to me, hey, I didn't give it all last time, but I want to try it again and do and crush it their second time, in the biz. Because literally, with any type of change, it's are you desperate enough? Are you willing enough? Like me, when I talk about my drug use, I was a chronic relapser because there was times I was not desperate enough. I wasn't willing enough. I wasn't willing to be coachable and do the things that I need to do to make a change, right? So it's the same in this business. So, and exactly, we're not even international yet. We're not even international yet. We have people still, we have, people, making that 5-figure monthly pay. But of course, if that's not your thing, that's fine too, because here's the thing, you can sign up if you just love the product, get yourself a little discount. I think what I saw, okay, if you're going to buy 3, get 1 from me, average, it's $35. But if you sign up yourself and get those 4 strips, it's $13.75, right? And then you get your friends to buy from you and you actually make money. You earn product credit, right? So I'm not saying I know there's some people that are I am super happy with my job right now. I am so, I love what I'm doing, but I'd like to make a little extra income. This works for you too. I'm not going to say hey, hound your family and friends. I'm not going to say make sure you order, make sure you have a garage full of nail strips. I'm going to hound you. That's just not what we do here. It's just not. We do provide you with the resources, and if you want to run, you can run. So I was talking a little bit about trips and travel, right? So Color Street has literally changed my life as far as travel, because, my first trip alone was to Vegas, 2018 conference. I went, and that was my first time on an airplane in almost 20 years. My boo Laura was my airplane mate. I roomed with Katie. That was a big opening for me. That was a big eye-opener for me at conference, right? 2018. It was a few months after my weight loss surgery. And I was a senior executive director. I had just made the presidential circle on the presidential team. And the company had asked me, little old me, Brittany Mudkey, to share my story, testimony on main stage at general session, right? that was an opener for me. I'm like, oh my God, I have been told to hide myself for years, and you guys want me to share stuff that usually people have the stigma. You want me to share about my weight loss surgery because there's stigma behind that. Don't hide yourself. I know a lot of people think stuff about that. They want me to share that I was a convicted felon. P.S. Color Street allowed me to pay for an attorney. That I no longer have to say I'm a convicted felon at all as of last month, right? That's another thing my pyramid scheme, has done for me. So let's talk about that trip, right? And so I went to Vegas then for conference, and then I met some of my closest friends. I went to the Bahamas in October 2018. People, that I've met through Color Street, never would have thought about that. October 2018, I literally finally, I got the courage to tell that person I was married to that I did not want to, that I didn't have to be married to him anymore, that I didn't need. And, over about 9 months prior, I separated our bank accounts. I told him while he was sitting on the couch that he was going to regret everything, and that pushed me. I didn't need to be in this relationship to where I had to feel like this big because I was dependent and I didn't want to take my kids to the shelter. Like, that happened. That's not something I talk so openly about, but that was a big thing that my pyramid scheme allowed me to do. And I can tell you, I've seen so many women find freedom that way. Because it's hard, right? We're we always, we always think of our kids first. So it was just but I was able to do that. I was able to be an example to show them what real love is, to show them how two people should interact with each other. I was able to do that. 2000, next trip, November 2018, I went to a mastermind where I met some mentors in freaking Cabo, Mexico. Again, never ever been on my radar. Now, January 2019, presidential member. I was invited to the presidential team retreat with the other presidential members, and we were spoiled. We got to go to Broadway. We got to hang out with the CEO. It was amazing. Again, amazing. And then I earned my first cruise with Color Street. The first time I ever went to a cruise, that was in end of February, March of 2019, right? Again, another first because of my pyramid scheme. If you were on that cruise, and again, I'm going to keep pointing you to that income claim disclosure, you had to hustle your booty off. And there are people, and if you didn't take the cruise, they paid you out, but you have to work, right? So that was another first because of Color Street. And then, in the meantime, I've been able to, do other stuff I've never been able to do with my kids, like Disney. And, I always had, my cars have always been in my parents' names. I've been able to get cars. And then I go to Orlando 2019 conference and get to meet all of you guys again at conference, and that was even twice as big. And I was invited to be a speaker at leadership, right? And I was able to walk as a Sapphire National Executive, and I was able to walk as a presidential team member and celebrate my team's accomplishments, because you guys, they just blow it up. It's amazing, what I see here. People, again, with no experience, people, again, with those situations, people, wanting to just make a change some way, making friendships, that's my favorite thing. I say, 3 of my 5 bridesmaids I've met through Color Street. Seriously, I've struggled with friendship. I was an army brat. I was a drug addict. Color Street taught me to be a friend and nurture those relationships with women. And it's not always going to be nasty, right? It's not always going to be horrible and jealousy. Yeah, of course, there is. I'm not going to lie. I am always, no sugarcoating here. That definitely goes on, but it's not the same. We definitely cheer each other on, and for the like majority, like 99%, it's amazing. There's always going to be a few bad apples, and just like same when I said talking about pyramid schemes, there's always going to be some that people might use as a reference to say, you know, oh look, Jamie Williams, no direct sales experience and a director. That's what I'm talking about. So then we go to Orlando. They announced the next extensive trip. They announced something as home office achiever. And I was invited to home office, and there was like 20 of us, I think, because I was a top enroller for a certain period. So I had sponsored, you know, the top 10 for like a certain, I think it was like 3 or 4 months. And again, I got to have my second home office tour, which is like my favorite trip. Freaking airfare free, Broadway show free, walk through the warehouse. That was because of this pyramid scheme. We did I earned the Cancun trip for 2 airfare. And then COVID came. But when COVID came, so we're waiting on that, right? There's been so many other things. We just had our virtual conference last week. And it was virtual. And I told you, like, what I was recognized with at the last few conferences, like being recognized for my rank. A lot of my rank comes from my team. That's not lost on me, right? So this virtual conference was a huge deal for me because I was actually recognized as being a top enroller. That was huge. I was the number 3 for in the entire company. That's 94,000-ish stylists throughout the whole year. Being able to be recognized, you know, for something I did, that was big for me. And then the top 5 team, which we've held for like 18 months, another big. And then you guys saw my post the other day, the award that means more to me than any type of recognition, of course, is going to be the True Colors Award, because like that was, you know, based off in nominations from the company, leaders, peers, and stuff that had nothing to do with my numbers as a team, personal. That just had to do with who I am as a person, which goes back to me wanting to just be an example. That goes back to me thinking of that day in the kitchen at Red Lobster and that manager telling me that I couldn't be a manager, right? It goes back to that group chat and those girls who I thought were my friends not being my friends anymore. Like, that's what all this comes down to, and that's what I think about, right? That I stopped listening and just started taking some risks, getting uncomfortable. You know, this pyramid scheme has changed my life in so many ways, confidence-wise, outwardly, you know, something I couldn't even imagine in my literal wildest dreams. But it can do, you know, everyone has their own different goals, you know, vacations or, you know, just having some extra money. It's something, you know, just being recognized and having some friends and stuff. This, you know, it can do whatever you want it to do. We had some really cool incentives released at conference, virtual conference, but the one I'm jumping on here real quick to talk about is our next incentive trip is to Punta Cana, the Hard Rock Resort, all inclusive. And for the first time, like, you don't have to have a certain rank. And the points, you know, are broken down pretty easy. So like, okay, so say you need a vacation. We need a vacation, right? You get points for like getting certain goals, and like if you sign up, you are more apt to be able to promote and get those points. 30 points gets you there, right? Gets you to stay there for that like 4 or 5 days or whatever. If you want more of a breakdown, that if you want a vacation for free, drop a comment or PM me if you know, want to make some side money too, or if you like really want to make that life-changing income. I've posted the income claim disclosure in there. Just stop listening to, and I said this yesterday, but it's real. Stop listening to those people that are still broke, that are still unhappy, that are in the same or worse place they were 3 to 5 years ago. I stopped. I literally, and that is true freedom to me, right? I do what Brittany feels is going to be best for her family. What Brittany feels is going to be, you know, it's always ultimately for my children and being an example, being a role model. So I just stopped. Did I have that $129? No, I literally had to hide signing up from my spouse at the time, hide working the business for a while, borrow that money. And now I guess there's a few apps or whatever, like there's a few different ways. But no, like I didn't have that $120. I didn't feel, but you guys, when I look back on what's happened over the $129, I would gladly pay 5 to 10 times that at the time. Like I literally would figure it out. And like, again, what I talked about, you know, as far as when you have that desperation for a change, you're able to find stuff. Like when I didn't have rent money and I knew I was going to be evicted, that money, I'll find it, right? It's just, you know, it's going to be ultimately about work. It's a business, you know. Gotta, you know, sometimes pay money. You get so much to start out, you know, and if you want to learn about what comes in your kit and stuff, you know, hit me up too. You know, if you're ready to go, we're ready to go. The Punta Cana. But I just wanted, you know, to make sure you heard my 3 years in a freaking pyramid scheme. I mean, you be the judge. It's been, you know, pretty amazing. I know everyone's journey is not the same. Some people's journeys are a lot longer, and some people don't want or need the type of drastic change that I had. I'm well aware. I think it's like something like 5% actually want, you know, like that. I needed it, right? I didn't even know. Like I told you, I wanted $1,000. I think sometimes it's like so unbelievable. Like you can't even say like, I want, you know, 5-6 figures a month. Like that's literally unbelievable. So it's crazy, right? So anyways, thanks for jumping on. 3 years coloring the world. You know, again, if you're interested in this thing, I am ready to run. I am also ready to, I'm pumped up for next year's conference in Orlando. I'm pumped up to celebrate my team, my friends, and just make a freaking impact, make a change. You know, this has been, I've been able to use nail polish as a platform to share, you know, my truth, you know, as far as you not being defined by our past and being able to, like, it's not freaking perfect and nothing, you know, we can be our real selves and share, you know, those parts of ourselves that people like to hide and be okay. So I love my little scheme here. I'm like, if this is I remember last October, I was in Maui at a mastermind and I was walking at the friggin' beach in Hawaii. I was like, if this is what a pyramid scheme is, okay. I mean, I'll do it. I'll drink the Kool-Aid. But no, like, and you know, people that say that, they just don't know. And there's nothing else you can say. Cause when I look at pyramid schemes, I look at like people that like go, you know, $10,000s of dollars in debt, you know, for an education, end up having to work years to pay that off and, you know, stuff like that. But of course, like if that makes you happy, that's fine. But what I'm saying is it's all going to be about perspective. And just don't like bash people trying to make some extra money. Like help them, right? Do we bash people when they share like their little discount codes to Rothy's? Do we like yell at Target for sending me 10 emails about, no, like everybody is just trying to support their family and make a change. And I just like about like being supportive of whatever it is you want to do. You want to make soap, you want to make t-shirts, I'm there for it. Okay. So anyways, you guys have a great rest of your week. I will be on here later. Bye.